Hey everybody, it's about 4 in the morning now, and I wanted to talk a little bit about hard drives versus solid state drives, or as they commonly call them, SSDs. Basically what a hard drive is, you have a spinning metal platter that spins. Most hard drives, most big full-size computer hard drives, and like iMacs and whatnot, Mac Pros, at least the older machines, they spin about 7,200 RPM, but the hard drives in laptops like MacBooks, MacBook Pros and whatnot, they spin at 5,400. And if you go to the older MacBook Airs that had the little 80 or 120 gigabyte, 60 or 120 gigabyte, the little 1.inch hard drives in them, the really small ones, because the MacBook Air is so small, those actually were even slower. Those were about 4,200 RPM. Also, if you go back to the PowerBook and the iBooks, those spun at about 42 to 5,400 RPMs. So, but they were made because laptops are, they don't need as much of a, I guess you can say they don't need to spin as fast as a desktop hard drive. But there's something called a solid state drive, and you can buy them for they're mainly made for laptops. And I don't know how you would get an SSD into an iMac because they're smaller. And the standard hard drive, I'm sure, is some type of adapter. But basically, an SSD, basically it's like a little USB thumb drive. There's no parts moving inside of it. So, it's able to access your data faster. I know you can definitely put SSDs inside a Mac Mini because the Mac Minis are made for, they use the smaller laptop components because they're so densely packed. So basically they use a hard drive that you'd find in like a MacBook Pro or a MacBook. The iMacs use a bit of a bigger drive that you'd find in like a Mac Pro or like a regular PC. Not just Macs, but PCs. PC laptops, they use the 3.5-inch, 9.5mm hard drives because they're so densely packed. Inside of there, there's really not a whole lot of room for bigger hard drives. But basically, you don't have to worry about your hard drive head crashing into this platter. What happens when that occurs? That causes the head crashes into the platter, and that's all your data on that platter. Whatever your files and whatnot, stuff like that. And data recovery is very expensive to have data recovered. If that ever happens, an SSD drive is worth a ton. They can be very expensive. So kind of figure out, do you want an SSD? Basically, what I'm saying is, do you want less storage space in there? Do you want the thing to be fast, or do you not really care about storage? Or rather, do you not care if the thing is fast or not? And do you want a lot of storage? You put like a lot of files on your computer. This is the question. Is that what you want to put on there? It's kind of to figure that out. Hard drives, still traditional spinning platter hard drives, are still, they're good enough to put things on. But the great thing about the Mac is you don't have to defragment your hard drive like you do on the PC. That's the great thing about the Mac. So if I were to pick up, my cousin or somebody a MacBook, I would probably upgrade their hard drive to have a little bit more storage space, even though the hard drive would probably be spinning at about 5,400 RPM or so. I know that they make big hard drives that have a lot of storage space on there, like 500 gigs for a laptop, so 7,200 RPM, but really, you won't notice the difference between rotational speed. So it's really not a whole lot of difference. You got to figure out, do you want an SSD or do you want a standard hard drive in your computer? If cost is a thing, or rather, I should say, if cost and if storage space are a thing, you might want to get just stick with a traditional hard drive. That's really all I can think of. And also, one side note I want to make mention of is more RAM. If you put more RAM, most people think when your computer slows down, oh, it's a hard drive. Well, that's possibly the culprit. But another thing is the RAM. because as you run out of RAM or you use more RAM, you swap between virtual memories, so you swap from the system to the hard drive. When you run out of the actual physical RAM, you start swapping RAM between the operating system and whatever you're doing, and you swap it between the hard drive, and that's why things start to slow down, especially on a Mac. I've experienced on a Mac, where if you have too many things open, and you don't have enough RAM, you run out of RAM, and you start swapping between the hard drive. That really slows things down. So even if it is at 7,200 RPM, you start slowing things down. That's another reason where the SSD comes into play. If you have an SSD, you won't have to slow it down. Everything will just be quick. Everything will just be fast. I think pretty much all computers nowadays, MacBook Airs, the Retina MacBook Pros, you can get the iMac in an SSD or rather in a flash-based form. The Mac Pros have flash as standard. So look at your options and see what you want. And if you're wondering why I'm talking so quietly like I normally don't, everybody's sleeping. It's about 4 in the morning. I probably should be in bed, but I can't sleep. I've been up on coffee. So, okay, until next time, people.